This is the second video for students enrolled on the Sex and Relationship Education module offered as part of the BA Ed Studies programme at the University of Plymouth. An interesting session this week. I think most of you would agree that the practical half of the session was interesting. But in the first half of this week, we talked about the importance of laying down certain ground rules when it comes to dealing with children and young people in this particular area. And what I wanted you to think about were the kind of ground rules that you would construct yourselves if you were approaching this issue. We talked about things like appropriate language, the use of the correct terms, and we said this because a lot of slang terms are pejorative or are undermining, and they can lead to confusion as well. So one of the things that's often argued in terms of good practice is the correct use of language in relation to body parts. Also, we talked about the kind of the issues of confidentiality around SRE classes, and we said that actually, in reality, people often will kind of imply that what goes on in an SRE class remains in that class, but of course it can't do because of our duty of care to children and young people. And it's very important, I think, early in the process to discuss what we actually mean by confidentiality in this kind of context. We also said that SRE sessions need to be inclusive of the whole group, but we also need some opt-outs, that people shouldn't feel pressured or coerced into taking part in activities or offering answers to questions. Indeed, we might even discuss whether or not there should be direct questions or whether there should be open-ended questions. I think we also talked about how incorrect answers needed to be corrected sensitively, so we didn't want people to laugh or belittle anybody that had offered a response to a question. And I think we need to, at all levels, challenge prejudice or discrimination in any way. And I think one of the interesting things that we came to the conclusion at the end of that first session was that when you think about it, things like boundaries, appropriate language, the respect between people in the group, listening carefully to questions and answers, that any answers that are offered are done so with the appropriate atmosphere, that we challenge prejudice and so forth. I think one group actually made the point, and I thought this was a very, very good point, is what's the difference between that and just simply good teaching? Virtually all of the things that we mentioned in those ground rules apply to good teaching. And I think that's the question that I've got to you today. I think what I want you to think about for next week is how far is the delivery of SRE dependent on good teachers and good appropriate teaching methodologies. And the reverse of that, how far do you think that bad SRE is perhaps a reflection of bad teaching methodologies and inappropriate pedagogical approaches? So I want you to think about that as we go through this week, and I hope you did enjoy the session on Monday. It was quite unusual. I don't think I've ever been in quite a situation like that before, and hopefully it won't be quite as hectic, shall we say, on this coming session on Monday. But we will do some other practical activities relating to contraception on Monday afternoon as well. So hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.